All right, continuing on, NFL team previews. We got the New York Jets. The attention, of course, is all on Aaron Rodgers, but I think the bigger change here is Nathaniel Hackett as the play caller. I keep hearing all these talks about how Rodgers and Hackett had success in the past in Green Bay, but Hackett wasn't the play caller. It was LaFleur. We only have two examples of Hackett as a play caller. It was last year with the Broncos, and then he was with Jacksonville before going to the Packers. Both were absolute disasters, so there's a really good chance Hackett is just a bad play caller. He's known to run very complex offenses. Players have said it's very tough to learn, so there will be a learning curve for Rodgers. And remember, it took Brady about 10 weeks to finally get clicking when he went to Tampa after all those years in New England. Russell Wilson didn't have a smooth transition either, and that was under Nathaniel Hackett. As of early July, Hackett said in a press conference the offense isn't completely installed yet, and there's a lot more moving parts to get right. Rodgers has said he wants to do less at the line of scrimmage, meaning less checkoffs and play with more tempo. And last year, the Packers, with Rodgers, were the second slowest team in the league. Now, last season, without Rodgers and without Hackett, the Jets were top 5 in tempo, snap to snap. Rodgers would like that pace, but I'm not sure Hackett wants what Rodgers wants here. If we look at what Hackett did last season in Denver with Russ, he had Russ calling plays at the line of scrimmage using multiple checks, and we all know how that went. It's tough to say where Rodgers is at. Is age catching up to him, or was last season's dip in numbers related to him dealing with that finger injury? Even if he plays to the numbers he did last season, it's still a big improvement for the Jets. Jets did build up their wide receiving core, signed some of Rodgers' old buddies, Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, to go with McCole Hardman. Garrett Wilson has wide receiver number 1 locked up, but he's already missing a lot of time in camp with an ankle injury. And my question really is he ready to be a number 1 guy? Because he really needs to be Rodgers' version of Devontae Adams Part 2. Rodgers is coming from a Green Bay team that routinely had a top 5 pass blocking unit. Jets are pretty much the opposite with a bottom 10 unit. Last season, I had the Jets playing the second toughest strength of schedule, and it doesn't get much easier this season, as I have them playing the 4th toughest strength of schedule based on last season's EPA numbers. The Jets will play the single toughest schedule of opposing pass offenses. The first 6 weeks are tough, and they could easily dig themselves a hole early with games against Buffalo, Dallas, Kansas City, and Philly. The only break is they basically get 10 home games if you don't count the game at the Giants as a true home game. The sweet spot in their schedule is weeks 12 to 14, a 3-week homestand against Miami, Atlanta, and Houston, which are all warm weather teams who the Jets could hold an advantage of playing in potential cold weather late November, early December. Jets should be favored in 8 of their final 11 games. The biggest bright spot for the Jets last season was defense. They gave trouble to every offense they faced. What's impressive is they did it against the single toughest schedule of opposing offenses. A big reason for their success on defense, in my opinion, was the insane injury luck they had. They had the lowest negative impact due to injuries in the league. Their top 3 cornerbacks didn't miss a single game all season, and that's a fragile position. Top linebacker C.J. Mosley played in all 17 games. Top front 7 defender Quinnen Williams, he only missed 1 game. Will they have the same injury luck this season? If that type of defense can return this year and things work out with Rodgers on offense, the Jets will be a playoff team. The Jets' offense constantly let their defense down last season. The Jets had the biggest gap between their offensive EPA numbers, which was 30th, and their defensive EPA rank of 6th. No team had even close to a 14-spot gap like that. Offensively, the Jets scored single digits 5 times. No other team did that more than 3 times. Rodgers should obviously help improve that aspect, and you'd think we'll be more interested to see how this Rodgers experiment works out. I'm not completely sold just yet, but that's all I really have for the Jets. 7 teams down, 25 more to go. The next team preview happens to be who I have winning the Super Bowl, so be on the lookout for that one.